Hi, I'm Lee Merman with Investments in Sarasota, and today I'm standing on the beach here on Longboat Key. I want to talk about three housing options post-hurricanes Helene and Milton. I have grown up here and lived here as a child, an adult, and a parent, and I've never seen anything quite like we've experienced over a 2-week period at the end of September and beginning of October. There are three housing options that people have to mitigate risk and reduce anxiety and stress moving forward. I've written a comprehensive article. Click on the link in the description below to read the entire article on this subject. And I'm going to talk about inventory and other opportunities that are currently available to buyers such as yourselves here on the Barrier Islands of Sarasota. Historically, there have been three housing options that people can choose from: slab-on-grade, elevated, and condominium. Most homes were originally built slab-on-grade. Even Bird Key used to never have two-story homes. All of them were built directly on the ground. And why people like this option is because there are no steps to get into the home. There are no steps to get out to the pool. And so this is the most favorable option for anybody. Now slab-on-grade needs to be a little bit of an elevated experience. The grade needs to be above base flood elevation, which differs from area to area. So if you're going to go with a slab-on-grade option, it needs to be a piece of land that has either been raised to base flood elevation, or you as a property owner are going to need to raise that piece of dirt so that you can build a home without steps to get in or out of the property. This is an example of slab-on-grade on St. Armand's Circle. Our client bought this property, which is just 3.5 feet above sea level. As you see, the storm surge line is at 6 feet. So they had about 3 feet of storm surge in their home. They were going to renovate the home and live in it for a couple of years and then rebuild. Now the storm is accelerating that timeline. They're going to build new, tear this down, and they'll be about 10 feet above base flood elevation with their new home. I think that there are going to be some opportunities. We just don't know how many yet. What I mean by that is there are going to be people who've decided that they want to move to an elevated situation or a condominium, and they're going to be selling their land at land value. And it's going to be, the opportunity is going to be for the new homeowner to either take down an existing home and build their own home from that, or perhaps the lot will already be cleared. This is going to provide the best investment opportunity because these are going to be priced the lowest of all three options. The second housing option is going to be a single family home that's elevated. The house can be elevated in one of three ways: either piers, stem wall, or fill dirt. Actually, a combination of a stem wall and fill dirt is probably the way that most of these properties are constructed, but any of the three is going to get you elevated above the base flooded elevation. We have clients that we helped us purchase a home on Siesta Key about 10 years ago, and their property was elevated through fill dirt and then a stem wall put on top of that. They're at 10 feet and they didn't have any issues with any storms that have come over that island over the past 10 years since they've owned that property. I really think this is a very, very viable and healthy option for those people that are looking for elevated living, but while preserving the single family experience. For people willing to make the change to a condominium, they may get the greatest peace of mind and worry-free experience. People that lived in condos really had nothing to worry about. In fact, people that lived in new construction, where the property was elevated and obviously the building is elevated, built to the latest building codes, really had carefree experiences. Those that have moved into the St. Regis here on Longboat Key are such an example. They had very, very, very little damage, if at all, if you consider an inch or two in the bottom of a parking garage. There wasn't water intrusion into the units. There wasn't damage to the windows, and right after the storm, the entire team got back out there cleaning and polishing and getting ready for the residents as soon as the island opened. Another example of that is at Sea Place. A condominium was built in 1974. They too have an extensive staff and they manage well over ½ an acre of beach. They didn't have any issues either. Our clients there had renovated their residence so they had impact windows and doors. They didn't have any water intrusion. They didn't have any breakage. And living at Sea Place has picked up right where it left off. A carefree existence here on the shores of Gulf of Mexico. And there you have it, 3 distinct housing options here on the Barrier Islands. However, I don't expect you to go at this alone. I grew up on this island, I've raised our kids here, and now I'm a real estate expert. Whether it's negotiating the contracts, understanding the insurance process, choosing the right inspectors, knowing when to do renovations, we will be with you every step of the way. The greatest outcome from this storm has been that all of our clients are extraordinarily happy with their purchase decision, and many of them live right here on the sand. For Investments in Sarasota, I'm Lee Merman.